You know what I kind of feel like?
Yeah.
We're doing the news together or something. Like at the angle where
I do feel like a news broadcaster.
Right. Coming up tonight on WSAZ, Sarah.
The weather is slightly cloudy. Nice 80s.
It's very hot.
I think it feels
Let's
pretty
kick it
good.
over to Austin for the weather.
It could rain.
Could rain. You know, your due date's in December.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Another little boy.
That's right around the time of the annual meeting.
It
Probably won't be able to
is.
go.
I don't think so, but Aaron did have an idea that I could be the first person to give birth at a conference. But there'd be plenty of nurses, but I don't think I feel very comfortable doing that.
No, I'm sure he was joking. You got a name picked out for the baby boy?
Actually, my husband and I cannot agree on one name.
Oh man,
So
it could come right down to the wire.
it did with our son.
Really?
Yeah, he went on our first son. He went on a snowboard trip to Telluride, Colorado with his brother. He lives there. And we were in between two names, Benjamin or Benson. And two of my brother-in-law's best friends are named Benjamin and Benson. So they said they'll fight to the death in the snow. And whoever the winner was will name our son. So now we have a Benji.
Did they actually duke it out?
I mean,
Surely not.
I think I don't know. I didn't get the full story of
Ski
how
a ski off?
like a wrestle in the snow off.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Okay, well, let's not go any farther before we introduce you. You want to tell us your name, title, what you're doing at Village Caregiving?
Okay. I'm Sarah Cline. I am the director of clinical quality. How my role is, I'm kind of Danielle's right-hand man. We're kind of dividing some clinical aspects of the village caregiving and working on training and doing some audits, which fun stuff. But just making sure everybody has the right training materials for the nurses and the caregivers and up to date on their CPR and all that good stuff.
It's a lot.
A lot of stuff, but it's important.
It's extreme. It's probably the most important thing we do. Yeah. I'll have a round of applause for that. And Danielle had the director of clinical quality role in the past. You've now filled those shoes. Mm-hmm. Thanks for coming on board. How long have you been with Village Caregiving?
I think it's like right at a month, right under a month.
All right. So this is a perfect way to introduce you to everyone at the company. Mm-hmm. Do you have much interaction with those that are out there at the office branches, the director levels, RNs?
Well, I went to the Chillicothe office and hung out with Julian, and we did some assessments. And then I've been at the Barboursville office for a couple days and got to go on some assessments with HEF and seen what they.
So you've done some. I just didn't know if the role was more of a behind the scenes sort of a thing, or if you're actually having touches.
I think I am behind the scenes, but I wanted to be in the scenes so I understand what to do behind the scenes. If
Gotcha.
That makes sense.
No. Perfect. Yeah, it's hard. We do this with a lot of roles. I think we're getting better at this. Mm-hmm. So even if your role is going to be more so in the background and you don't have the touches with the directors or the visibility, it's still really important to go out there, go to the offices, see what their day-to-day is like, the challenges that they experience. Otherwise, it's harder to relate to.
Right. I think it's even important to go on the assessments.
Yeah.
With the nurses, and you're actually there from the ground, and then you can understand and you build a rapport with some clients by doing that.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
We're missing Aaron still. He would be right here. Is this camera on in the middle? That's for you, Aaron. I've got a letter from him, though.
Oh, let's hear it.
Want to see what he's written? He's traveling right now with his cousin Virgil.
Oh.
They're in North Carolina on an extended trip. And he wrote a letter last week that I read on the podcast with Mike DeRose. But this one has two things in it. Let's see what he says here. He told me I could read these before he left. So Yeah, he and his cousin Virgil are still in Raleigh, North Carolina. It says, "Dear Jeff, it certainly is exciting up here in Raleigh. Really having a ball. My head hasn't hit the pillow before 11:15 since I got here. Catching all the shows. Saw that Italian picture that we read about in the paper, Bread, Love, and Beans, and it was risque, let me tell you. The food here in the cafeteria is terrific, and I've been eating up a storm. The breakfast special is unbelievable. 3 hot cakes, 2 strips of bacon, 1 egg any style, juice, and coffee, all for 35 cents. It's only served between 5 and 6 a.m., but I can't sleep anyway. I ran into a fellow on the street the other day who tried to sell me an iron deer for my front lawn, but I don't know. Well, it's almost 5 o'clock, so I better get down to breakfast. Love to everyone back at the office. Tell them I said, hey, 10-4, over and out, Aaron." It's nice, isn't it?
Very nice.
Then this is P.S. Please pass this poem along to Danielle. You can read it and see what you think. I guess he said we can read it. Okay. It says, I'll read it as if I'm in Aaron's voice to kind of,
Yeah.
put a little bit of oomph behind it. It says, Danielle, lovely dear Danny. Mr. Hershey could never make as sweet a candy as Danielle, lovely dear Danny. Oh, there are things of wonder of which men like to sing. There are pretty sunsets and birds upon the wing. But of the joys of nature, none truly can compare with Danielle, she of beauty beyond compare. Danielle, lovely dear Danny.
It's very nice.
That's pretty good, Aaron. It's good to know he's thinking about us while he's out traveling and writing sweet letters back to Danielle like that.
Yeah, very nice.
Isn't that something? He really did write that, too. Anyways, back to village caregiving. How's your time been here so far? It's been a month.
It's been very nice.
Everything going. Well, let me ask you this. The things that we told you up front when you were going through the interview and about to join, did we live up to it so far?
So far, I mean, everybody's been so nice and welcoming. Every question that I've asked, somebody has been willing to, if they don't know the answer, they direct me to somebody that has the answer. And that's really nice to have, because sometimes you don't get that everywhere, like such a welcoming environment.
Yeah, I think that we have a really good spirit of cooperation there in the office and teamwork. There's no of that, like, I don't want to help you because I want to get ahead of you feeling. That's something that better hopefully never exists at this company, right? Talk a little bit more, if you don't mind, about exactly your day-to-day. So Director of Clinical Quality. I write DOCQ. Do you ever abbreviate that way? No. Sorry. That's a me thing, apparently. But I really do if I put taking notes. Anyway, what are you doing on a day-to-day basis? And I know it's a lot of stuff, and you gave us the rundown, but like in a more specific, you come into work and you mentioned CPR and assessments and training with nurses. What exactly occupies most of your time in a given day?
Well, right now I've been working on the HRSM system.
What's that? I know what it is, but for the audience that may not.
Right. It's like going through the referrals for our VA patients and making sure they go in the correct files for each office. So, that's important because...
So when we get referrals, they all get dumped into the HRSM,
Yes.
and you have to go through and actually farm them out where they're supposed to go. That's a job in all of itself, probably.
Well, it took me about 4 hours yesterday.
Right. I imagine. Man, thank you.
But today was faster. I got it done in 2.
Okay. You're a registered nurse. Talk a little bit about that. How did you get into nursing? Was that something you always felt called to do?
Yeah, my mom is a nurse. So ever since I was little, my baby dolls were always sick and they needed somebody to take care of them. And I'd play war with my brothers, and I was always like the medic type of person. So I always wanted to take care of somebody. And then, I mean, nursing, there's just so many opportunities you can do with nursing. You can work at the bedside. You can do what I'm doing now, which I never really thought about until Anna approached me with the job opportunity. But there's just so much different avenues that you can go with that.
Where did you work so far in your career? Were you in a hospital setting?
Yes, I worked at St. Mary's. I worked in their medical intensive care unit for about 3.5 years, and then I switched to procedural area. I worked in the electrophysiology lab where they do pacemakers, AFib ablations, working with different heart arrhythmias. And then once I had my son, I wanted something a little bit more mommy friendly. So I switched to Cabell's Surgery Center and worked there until I
Actually, we're in surgical operations.
was in the pre-op and PACU.
Okay. Whenever you're in the procedural role there, the second stop, what are the job duties? And you're doing a pacemaker, right? Like, what do you, I'm just curious. I don't even know the answer to this. What does a nurse do in that situation?
So with different procedure, so if we were doing a battery change on the pacemaker,
Right.
I would sedate the patient. So I'd give them fentanyl Versed and just monitor their vital signs. And then with other procedures, anesthesia was involved, but you still monitor the vital signs and be prepared to use the defibrillator if needed and chart.
Yeah.
A lot of charting.
It's real serious stuff too, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
My wife, Sarah, who is here in the studio today, her father, Rick, who's an awesome guy. He's had some issues recently with his pacemaker, right? And we've had to be at the hospital here and there. And you just say like changing a battery in it. If you're not careful, you think like, oh, that's pretty routine. No, that's some serious stuff going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's rewarding
Well, there's
work.
always risk with any procedure.
For sure. Right. Well, I mean, by the very definition of it, if that right there's the procedure, your heart has got weakness to begin with. So
yeah, no,
it's
it can-
extra heightened, right?
It can be very nerve-wracking.
For sure. Okay. Well, any surprises since you started working here?
At Village Caregiving?
Yeah. Anything that's different about your day to day, even if it's bad, it's okay.
Well, I mean, at our compliance meetings, we've been getting updates from Zach Wellman about the Tour de France, which is like I haven't worked somewhere where I get or emails about updates on how the bicyclists are going.
Yeah, that's a rare thing, especially here in West Virginia. I mean, there's a cycling community like lots of
Right.
places, but we're not exactly in France.
No.
But boy, do we have some fans of cycling in
Yes,
the office, don't we?
he has every race posted on his wall.
I know. They've even got village caregiving kits. And by kit, like what a cyclist, puts on the suit, the whole thing that's got the sponsorships and stuff. It's legit. They're serious about it. Okay, so you didn't realize you were going to become an expert in that.
No, I didn't.
Me neither. But it's happened. Here it is.
It has.
I got Zach one time a gift for his birthday. It was a cyclist. Oh, man, he's going to be so mad if I don't remember the name because I'm supposed to know all this stuff now. Sepp Cup, maybe? Is that right? Zach, I'm sorry. It's got to be something close to that. Anyways, for his birthday, that was what I got him. And it's a little painting that hangs on the wall there. It's pretty cool. But, yeah, those guys are into that. What about in that compliance meeting? Here's some inside info, sneak peek in the room for the branches that are listening. You guys have a turkey.
We do.
That you pass around.
Okay, that was very surprising.
Tell us a little bit about what the point of the turkey is.
It's kind of like how you'd go to camp and then you'd have like a spirit stick so you could talk or like. So if you get the turkey, it's your turn to talk.
That means you have the power.
You have the power in the room.
So I was in a meeting, been like a month ago. You were in there, I think. Maybe it was right before you started.
I think it was right before I started.
I didn't know the turkey rules, and I interrupted, and I got some looks. I was not supposed to be doing that.
Yeah.
That rule goes for the CEO right on down the chain. There's no talking if you don't have the power of the turkey.
It's pretty serious with the turkey.
You know, that's done out of a spirit, though, of really the right thing. Because this is a funny thing. We don't talk about this a whole lot because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but I mean this in a good way, both directions. That compliance meeting and the people that are on the compliance team, they are very, very passionate, talkative people, right? And so there's a lot of talking over each other, and we can be bad about interrupting and stuff. And I say that, though, it's done out of passion for the role, and everybody wants to do the right thing and they care a lot. You go to a business development meeting, and that's not the case at all. It's more so, it's like so respectful the other way that I actually want them to kind of interrupt a little bit more, right? At least that's how it's been in the past. And I find myself sometimes I wonder if that's a personality thing in some way. Like the same passion that made you care for your dolls and be the medic or whatever to take care of the thing is the same thing that makes this meeting like so passionate about caring for the people and everybody's got a strong opinion on it. Or if it's just coincidence. I don't know. What do you think?
Or maybe they just need a turkey.
Maybe they just like turkeys.
Yeah. Or they need a turkey at the business meeting.
Maybe. And then if you get the turkey, you have to talk.
Yeah.
Right. It's not like a privilege. It's now an onus that's been placed upon your shoulders. All right. Let me ask you one more question about Village here, and then I'm going to turn it to a little bit hobbies and stuff, get to know you stuff. But what is one thing that you are working on currently right now in your life to continue to grow and develop yourself professionally? Do you have a focus right this minute?
In each of my roles as a nurse and this, like I pride myself on being a team player. I want to be a team player. I want to be that person that, like, hey, Sarah, can you do that? Oh yeah, no problem. And I think that's kind of helps me grow too in my career, just being open to trying and helping people out. And
yeah, there's a lot of wisdom in that right there. And really, were you at the nurses conference in Columbus?
I started right after.
Okay. So we did this little session where I took questions that had been submitted previous to the meeting and just kind of answered them off the cuff as honestly as I could. And it turned out I had a lot of fun with it. And the questions were great, by the way. The nurses in this company should be like journalists because it's better than the questions I get plenty of other places. But anyways, one of them was, what should you do if you want to go about getting an advancement or a raise or something in the company to move up and improve? And I said, you should make me feel guilty about it if I don't give it to you. And the room kind of started laughing because they thought I was joking around, which it sounds like I am, like guilt me into it, except I was actually being serious. And I said, no, what I mean by that is, and this isn't just a Jeff Village caregiving thing, I don't think, and I've talked to lots of other people in my role that would share this opinion. The expectation on some level is, we pay you to do really good work, and we pay really well, and then you do really good work. It's a even, Steven, fair transaction, right? If you want to advance beyond that or get raises on that, you do the things that you just talked about, and that is be a better teammate. Whenever your work's done for the day, it's not like, woof, and then you just check out. Thank gosh I'm done. I can take it easy, watch, YouTube or go home. It's what else can I do to bring added value beyond what was actually expected of me, and go to a teammate and chip in like, hey, need any help on this project? What can I do to make life easier for you, et cetera? That stuff gets noticed over time. 100% does. And that's what I mean. Now it comes time to do an annual review or a comp review, whatever. And I'm thinking about Sarah Cline, and I'm like, God, every time I look around, she's going that extra mile to help and be a better teammate to the people in the office. We've got to reward that. And if I don't, I feel bad about it. I feel guilty. I go home and I feel bad about it. So that's what I meant when I give the question. So anyways, that's a perfect answer, in my opinion, because that's the same thing I'm looking for too.
Right.
Yeah, that's really good.
That just helps the work environment too. If people are like team players.
Exactly. It's more about the culture building and the relationships and all the spirit of trying to work together as a team than it is actually getting the work to be more productive. I mean, that's a great byproduct of it too, but that isn't as much as what I care about. It's more that we're all a collective unit here.
Right.
Okay. Well, great answer. Thanks. What about outside of work? What do you have as hobbies or interests or?
Well, I have a 16-month-old.
So that's going to take a lot of time.
Hobbies are kind of on the back burner
Yeah.
at the moment.
What do you wish you had time to do?
Well, I enjoy reading, which I read after I put him to bed. But I don't get very far in my books as I used to. I love being outside, and he does too, so that kind of helps. We have a lab, so we go on hikes and walks.
Well, you're getting a lot done. What's your
Yeah.
favorite stuff to read? Fiction, nonfiction? What kind of?
Fiction.
Would you get a favorite book or author or recommendation? We'll do some book recommendations today. I brought one too. What's one you've read recently that you really liked a lot?
Well, actually, Danielle and I were talking about this yesterday. It's called The Winter Garden by Krista Hanna.
We'll flash it up there.
Yeah.
Austin's good. He gives us the
Some
details.
name. But it's a really good book, and the story is, when you finish it, you're like, oh wow, that's heartbreaking.
Did you cry at the end?
Oh yeah.
I would too. Okay, so I brought my favorite book of all time today. What a coincidence. And this wasn't planned. I didn't know that you were that big of a reader, and this is not the most popular pick. The author is pretty popular. It's F. Scott Fitzgerald, and you think Gatsby. This is my favorite book of all time. It's Tender as the Night. If you look online at Fitzgerald's greatest works, it gets decent, reviews in terms of where it would fall in his overall catalog, but I don't know. It's one of the only books I've ever read where the actual writing itself was so beautiful from page to page that I would have to actually just put it down and like take a breath. And then I just wanted to read the page again. And as I went through it, I slowed down because I just didn't want it to end.
Yeah.
You ever read a book like that where you just didn't want it to be over? It was so good.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how that struck me. Funny, this is ridiculous. I can't even believe this. This is how much I like this book, folks. I read this in Las Vegas on a trip with a friend, like a long time ago. I ended up staying in my room in a casino, pretty much reading this book like half the quarter of the trip. Now, that's commitment to a book, I'm here to tell you.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't do that in Las Vegas.
Can you believe I even am saying this?
My husband would be flabbergasted.
I'm flabbergasted at me. Anyways, that's the best recommendation I can give a book. So if you've never read Tender as the Night, check it out. Let me know what you think. Favorite movie?
I don't know if I could pick.
TV show?
Probably Game of Thrones.
It's so good. Are you watching House of Dragon?
Yes.
How's that?
It's pretty good. Chandler and I have been doing weekly updates.
Oh, really? Do you get in the shows where they like discuss like the previous episode? Chandler, I know, is all into it.
Yeah, but then I don't want too many spoilers if they go into stuff like
I haven't
theories.
watched it yet. I watched all of Game of Thrones, and I haven't seen the next one. Is it better, worse, same?
It's different.
Just different.
It's different. It's
God.
it's good, but
My wife Sarah would love that answer. We don't talk about it in terms of things being better or not. It's just different. It's great. All right. Well, we got a few minutes left here. You want to play a game of priorities or pick a question 1 through 85? I've got some podcast questions that I printed off the internet. It's hard to tell what's on these things. It could be fun. I don't know. Your choice here.
how about number 70?
Number 70. Oh, boy. That says, this is a great question for you. How long did it take you to grow your audience to its current size? I guess this is if you had a podcast. So anyway, pick a different number. Sorry.
55.
And by the way, I'll answer that. Its current size is It's not huge, probably.
Well, I was
don't
going
know.
to say 4 people in this room.
Well, I had to marry one of them. And then the other 3 own the studio we're sitting in. So, okay. Pick a different one.
53.
Okay, let's hope this is a little better. It says, what are the most helpful resources that have helped you along the way? Okay, that's not a bad question. So let's go back in your previous nursing career and in school, nursing school even. What were the most helpful pieces of advice you got, or who were those people? Was it professors, friends, your family that your mom was a nurse? Or?
Well, my mom helped a lot. I would go home on weekends and I would have like my study guide and I would quiz her because that's how I learn. Like I like to ask questions, pretend I'm the teacher.
Yeah.
And then if she didn't know, like, oh, Mom, you don't know that. But like that's how I'd remember it.
I bet she liked that though.
Oh, she loved it.
Yeah.
So she was a really big resource. And then my husband is a nurse as well. So he was a year ahead of me in nursing school. So he helped me tremendously through nursing school.
That's cool. Man, that would be a huge help, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I always thought like a lot of people in law school had, very commonly, lots of them had an older sibling that had gone through law school. How much easier that would have made my life. Just the way that you study for a test.
Oh, yeah.
Having some of the notes, the way you prepare for the bar exam. I was just flying an airplane with a blindfold on, basically hoping I was doing stuff right. And other kids are just knowing exactly what they're supposed to be doing.
Right.
I'm jealous. I'm very jealous.
My grade point average definitely changed after I met him, like for the better.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Just because some of the girls in his class, his year, took very good notes and made really good practice questions. Mm-hmm. And that helped me a lot.
Have any mentors in your professional setting early in your career that, because you go to school and you learn a lot of stuff, but then you go into the real world and like you learn even more in a lot of industries.
Well, the ICU that I started on, when I first started, had a lot of experienced nurses. One that was recognized on Facebook yesterday, Mike, he's been on MI for 22 years. So they have seen literally everything, and they're a huge resource. So I would bug them all the time with questions, and I would tell one of our friends, she's a night shift nurse, but it's like, when I grow up, I want to be like you, because she just is confident and knows everything. And,
yeah. Those people in life are really special when you find one of those, aren't they? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you remember any particular piece of advice, like one line that just stuck with you for a long time, or is it not that kind of thing?
Just like trust your gut. A lot of nursing is like just trusting your instincts. You can kind of have some intuition when stuff goes south. So just usually your gut tells you and kind of guides you with that.
And then that turned out to be right more times than wow, that's pretty cool. What about at Village Caregiving? Anybody been especially helpful to you since joining the company, besides Chandler with his Game of Thrones knowledge and cycling information?
Right.
There has to be something you've learned that's helpful.
Well, Anna is a big resource just because we're friends outside of work, and then I bug Danielle with questions.
Yeah.
Every day, all the time.
Yeah. No, they're both great. I forgot, honestly, that you and Anna had been friends for a long time. How long is
it? It hasn't been that long.
Oh, okay.
But my husband and Anna, they were each other's first best friends in kindergarten.
Oh, okay.
So they knew each other all the way through, and then we had babies at the same time. And then...
Well, so they'll probably grow up and be friends then, right? Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool, too.
Yeah.
How do we recruit your husband to Village Caregiving?
You just ask him for a job. He was very jealous.
Oh, really?
He was like, when I told him, I was like, hey, Anna approached me. He's like, you're kidding. He's like, I've been looking at stuff on them already. He's like, can I interview? And I'm like, no, honey, I'm sorry.
Really? Oh, wow. Well, hey, we were a fast-growing company, so I'm sure there will be a million opportunities.
He's a good worker.
That's really cool. Okay. You want to do one more?
Sure. Let's do 7.
Are you an introvert or an extrovert?
I would say I'm kind of in the middle.
You go to a party, are you looking for one person to kind of have a conversation with, or you just like to mingle around and talk to as many as you can?
I'll probably be the one person to talk to. My husband's the opposite. He walks the room
And you gravitate more towards one meaningful conversation there.
correct.
Okay. I think I'm definitely extroverted, but that's a thing that's changed in my life. I didn't used to be like that at all. Really, really didn't like it.
I like to read the room and kind of know what scenario I'm stepping into
Yeah.
to feel comfortable.
Well, that's something that Sarah, my wife, Sarah's changed about me a lot, is just be more spontaneous and free-spirited and open to things like that. But that's for the people that work at Village that, you know, they know this version of who Jeff is. It hadn't always been like that, that's for sure. Well, that's cool. All right, so one thing, this is one of the last questions here, that you've learned recently or think of like some crazy fact from a newspaper news story or a reel you saw online or anything that's just a weird thing or something interesting that you could share with everybody.
Well, the only like random fact that I have in my head, I grew up in Guy County and we have a creek. It's called Raccoon Creek. And we were taught in
That's
school.
in Ohio, right?
Yes.
Southern Ohio.
We were taught in school that it's like roughly like 114 miles and it's Ohio's longest stream.
What? 114-mile creek is the
Creek.
longest body of water?
No, longest stream.
Stream.
Yeah. It's not considered a river.
Oh, okay. I thought that, yeah, like the definition of a creek, I think, is something that's like 99 miles or less. Some weird thing. Does that sound right? Maybe I'm completely making this up, but I swear I could have read that somewhere. It's the same sort
But they
of a
were
deal.
very proud to teach us that.
Raccoon
Raccoon Creek.
Creek. 114. Well, that sounds like I got it wrong, though. Where Gallia County, what's the like town hall of?
Gallipolis.
Oh, okay. You're up the river a little bit then.
Mm-hmm.
So, where do you live now?
I live in Huntington.
How did you make that move once upon a time?
Well, I went to Marshall and then met my husband. He's from Huntington.
Just settled down here.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the people listening not familiar with the geography, we're only talking like 45 minutes, right?
Right.
Yeah. You know, we had, it's been months ago, but Amber, who works in the London, Kentucky office, lived in Vermont and kind of just on like a lark decided to just move to the middle of Kentucky and start a farm.
Huh.
I find that really fascinating and
Yeah.
cool because that you could think about things in like, it doesn't sound that crazy. Really? You ever done anything like that? You know, like I haven't.
But that's like uprooting your whole life.
That takes some freaking guts right there.
Right.
And a real curiosity to go explore the world a little bit. Like the spirit of that is something that I find particularly interesting. I've thought about that ever since she said it. I come back to it. I'm like, that's so cool.
I don't think I could do that.
Just right now.
No.
You taking the kids, husband, we're going to go to live in the mountains in Idaho.
Yeah, I couldn't do that.
What is it about that you think you couldn't do?
We're very like family oriented. We're close with my side of the family, and then we're very close with his side of the family too. So, and I have nieces and nephews, and
Okay, so it's the people though, not necessarily just the place. Let's say you didn't have family here. Would that make it
that would make it different.
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, well, any final words of wisdom or message you'd like to leave us with today? That's putting you on the spot, huh? Give us some words of wisdom, Sarah.
It's good to step out of your comfort zone.
Amen to that. Love it. Cheers. You don't have a drink off. Here
Cheers.
you go. You can cheers with my water. Cheers. Thanks for coming
Cheers.
on today. Enjoyed it. Thank you.